4, 3, 2, 1.
Episode of Count on Us. I'm Coach Harris.
And I am Coach Brenner.
Today we're going to make math fun. We're going to show you lots of strategies that you can use at home, and we need your support because we're going to need you to call in today.
And we're really excited for this brand new season of Count on Us. If you tuned in last week, you noticed some new things. It's not all homework help the entire show. We've started kind of broadening our audience to not only students with homework help, but students that just want to learn some different activities, maybe fluency, games, different things they can take back into their classrooms, but also expanding it to teachers and parents. Some of these new segments are standards for mathematical practice, where we want you to pay attention where you're using some of these SMPs in your classroom. We have our parking lot segment, which gives different strategies and tools for you to be successful on that upcoming park test. We also have Coach's Connection, partnering with parents, where parents can email, tweet us, message us on Facebook. We know you're all on Facebook, right? Message us on Facebook some of those questions, and we will answer them live on the show.
Amazing.
Okay? These are some really cool stuff.
I'm so excited.
And we're excited. Can't you tell?
We're very excited.
Really excited. So, where are we going to next, Coach Harris?
Well, our first segment is one you just spoke about. It's the standards for mathematical practice, and upcoming Coach Davis and Coach Sun are going to show us some practices for primary students.
Welcome to Coach's Connection. My name is Coach Sun, here with my awesome partner, Coach Davis. And today we would like to share with you some strategies for reasoning and problem solving. Mathematics questions have various structures, and today we are going to talk about some solution pathways that will help you as you are addressing these different structures to math problems.
And there are a variety of approaches that you can use to solve a problem. Today we're going to show you one of those varieties. So today our focus is on join problems. Also, you can think about it as adding to or adding together problems. This is a problem structure that most people starting in kindergarten are familiar with. Okay, today we're going to look at a problem involving Linda and her dolls. Linda had 4 dolls. She bought 2 more dolls. How many dolls does she have now? So using our reading comprehension strategies, we always want to read the problem and then reread. So let's read it one more time. Linda had 4 dolls. She bought 2 more dolls. How many dolls does she have now? So in each problem, there is something that would be considered the start.
Then there's something that would be considered the change within the problem.
And then finally,
we would wrap up with the result. These 3 parts to a problem, start, change, and result, are always going to be within a problem, but what we're going to look at today is sometimes there will be one part missing. Sometimes the start is missing, sometimes the change is missing, and sometimes the result is missing. So let's see which is happening here.
Okay, so let's see if we can identify what's going on with Linda and her 4 dolls. Linda had 4 dolls.
Shall we represent that?
So is that the start, Coach?
That does sound like the start because she started with the 4 dolls.
Okay, so let's
put that in the start.
Let's represent that.
So we're going to just use what we call 2-color counters, but you can use absolutely anything you have in your household to represent with manipulatives.
Okay.
Pasta, pennies, cereal.
Anything to show what's going on to start the problem. So Linda had 4 dolls, so let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've represented that correctly. She bought 2 more dolls. So the fact that she's getting something extra, that's a change in what's going on. So let's see what has changed.
So let's put 2 more in as the change that she has now brought. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Coach.
And so since it is a change, it's different from the start, it's okay if we use the same color or different colors, but just to be specific, to differentiate between what she started with and then what happened to bring about a change, we're using 2 different colors.
Excellent. So now we know what is missing in this problem is the result. How many dolls does she have now?
And we always have to read the question to verify because it could have asked something else.
Absolutely.
So it says, how many dolls does she have now? So if I take the start, add to it the change, I will get the result.
Yes.
So
let's move them over to
yes,
results.
Absolutely.
Let's do that, Coach.
So we started with 4 dolls. She got 2 more dolls. Here they are in yellow. And now the question is, how many dolls does she have now? So we can count to see.
Yes, let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have represented this with some manipulatives. Is there a way that we could also represent this with an equation, Coach?
I think we could. So if we were using an equation, we started out with 4. And she bought some more, so usually we use addition to represent the more that she bought. And she bought 2 more. And we did not know what the result was. So I'm going to put a nice box here to stand for my unknown. Okay, so here we have an equal sign.
Okay. So this is an example of what we would call result unknown. And what we have is the result we now know to be 6.
So now we can fill in for our unknown. 4 plus 2 equals our result, and we figured out that our result was 6 by counting our counters.
Well, thank you to Coach Sun and Coach Davis for that amazing demonstration. It was awesome. You know, the part I liked best was probably the graphic organizer. The way they helped to display the data really helped me to understand a little bit better.
Think about if a teacher's coming around looking at your work and they see that setup, they know exactly what you're thinking.
Well, and I was also thinking, I like the manipulatives, you know, and if you don't have counters at home, you could really use anything, pasta, beans, anything you have at home.
That's kind of a good little segue. She's like throwing me an alley-oop here, okay? We have a couple other segments that we didn't mention before. First off, question of the day. This is where you can win prizes, okay? Pay attention from 5 o'clock to 5:55-ish, because that's when we're going to ask you guys to call in for that question of the day. It's going to come from something that happened during the show.
And you can see the number right now just below us right there.
301-772-0080. Now, the alley-oop that Coach Harris threw me was the manipulative. We have a manipulative of the week. The manipulative of the week is
number lines.
Number line.
Yes.
Okay,
My favorite.
Last week we went over adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing. This week we're talking about benchmark fractions.
Beautiful.
Okay? First benchmark fractions, we're going to look at those kind of lower grades. I'm going to start off with 1/2. So let's take a look at this number line here. So we do have a question. It says, place these fractions on the number line. We have 3/8, 11/12, and 4/6. Now this is the number line that they gave me. I have 0, 1/2, and a whole. What I might want to ask myself first is my fraction less than 1/2, equal to 1/2, or greater than 1/2? Well, how can I do that? If you look at the denominator, you break that in half, especially if it's even. If your numerator is less than that, it's going to be less than 1/2. If it's greater, it will be on this side between the 1/2 and the whole. So let's look at our first one. We have 3/8. I might ask myself, what's 1/2 of 8? 4. So 3/8 I know is going to be less than 1/2, but it's going to be pretty close to that 1/2 because I know 1/2 of 8 is 3. Now I move on to 11 over 12. Half of 12 is 6, so I know 11 is pretty far away from 12. I also know that 1 whole equals 12 twelfths. So I know that 11 twelfths, using my benchmark fraction, is going to be extremely close to that whole. Now I have 4 sixths. Half of 6 is 3. 4, is that greater than 3? Yes, it is. But is it between the half and 11 twelfths or 11 twelfths and 1 whole? What I'll ask myself here is 4 is 2 away from the whole 6, and I know 11 is only 1 away from that twelfths. Even if you weren't exactly sure how big twelfths were, and 6 is just using that benchmark fraction, you know that 4 sixths will be somewhere there, okay? Now, this is a strategy that you can use. I've seen 3rd graders, 4th graders using this strategy of that benchmark fraction. You're also constantly asking yourself what is half of something, so you're dividing all the time. Now, Coach Harris, in your 5th grade class today, weren't you actually using the number line with a specific problem?
It was absolutely perfect. So today we were talking about a student who was making bracelets. Her name's Diana, and she had 3.5 yards of yarn. And for every bracelet that she made, she used 1 1/3 yarn to make that bracelet. So there's a lot of ways you could go through this problem. This particular one was asking her to estimate how much was left. So the number line that I chose to use has no lines on it yet at all, because when we're dealing with a mixed number, we really are going to have numbers that are greater than 0 to 1. So we're going to have to add in some lines that will stand for the whole numbers in this problem. Since we're starting out with 3.5 yards, we know that the number that we're starting with has to be between 3 and 4. That means it's already greater than 0, greater than 1, greater than 2, and even greater than 3, but not yet greater than 4. So when we start to use the benchmark fraction, luckily we already have the halfway mark. So we're starting out with a fraction of yarn that's already 3.5. If we want to take away 1 1/3, this is where our benchmark fractions take over. We know that it's going to take more than a single yard and then 1/3 again. So we're going to have to think to ourselves, 1/3, is that closer to 0, a half, or a whole? And using the same strategies that Coach Brenner shared with us, we can see that 1 out of 3 is a lot closer to a half than it is to a 0 or even to a whole. So if we take away 1.5 from our original problem, we're left with 3.5 minus 1.5, and we can see that we're getting rid of 1.5. We'll have 1, 2 left over. So there's our extra yarn that we have left in the problem.
All right, I really like that strategy, and it went right into what we are using with our manipulative of the week.
Amazing.
The number line is something that all students can use. You don't even need to have it necessarily given to you. You can draw your own number line when it comes to tests, your tasks, anything you're working on in math. It's something that you've used since kindergarten.
Definitely.
Counting on a number line. So make sense of that problem. Now let's remind our callers, if you guys are calling in, the phone number is 301-772-0080. Now just to set you guys up, if you guys do call in, we're kind of changing some things here at Count on Us. We're not necessarily going to go through the entire problem and get to the actual answer at the end, but what we're going to do is we're going to try to set you up with some type of strategy to set you guys up in order to solve the problem. And if you want to call back afterwards to share the answer that you got, that solution, that would be your chance to give us a call back. So we're going to start it off. We're going to give you a strategy, and then we're going to let you work through it, some of that productive struggle, in order for you to come up with that answer by yourself, and then give us a call back to see how you did. And remember, that phone number is 301-772-0080. Now, another new segment, and we have a couple of these already in our bank, okay? So what we have is James McHenry Elementary School.
Yes.
James McHenry. Oh, you have a caller.
We have a caller.
Okay, so we have a caller.
How
All right,
exciting.
let's go. We have our first caller.
How
Welcome
exciting.
to Count on Us. How can we help you? Hello, welcome to Count on Us. Who are we speaking with?
Gaddafi Williams.
How are you doing? Could you please turn your TV down in the background? How can we help you? What school are you calling from? What school do you go to?
Samuel P. Massey Academy.
Okay, Samuel
Wonderful.
Massey. All right. What grade are you in?
Second grade.
Second grade. All right, so what's your problem? How can we help you out? What's the math problem you have?
88 minus 45.
Say it one more time.
Yes.
What's the problem again?
88
88
minus 45.
minus 45. Okay, so Coach Harris is over here. She's grabbing some of our base 10 blocks. I set it up for you, so we have 88 minus 45. All right. Now, what's the first step that you want to do here? What do you think? What can we do here first?
Pit.
All right, can we look at our ones column? How can we subtract here? Do we have 8 minus 5 in our ones here? What can we do?
You can take 110
Okay.
and
All right, well, let's look here. Let's say that we have 8 of our ones here. We have 8 ones, and we're taking away 5. Could I take 5 away from here? I sure could.
yes,
So if I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away, I'm left with how many ones? 1, 2, 3. Very good. All right, now I'm left with my tens. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tens. And how many tens am I taking away here?
4,
4, so I would take 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So what is my final answer here?
43.
43. So there's your answer, okay? All right.
Okay.
All right, thank you for calling in. We're glad that we could help you. Now, that was a quick problem, so we could definitely get through that one.
That was
Now,
pretty
some
great.
of those longer word problems, we might just set you up and then let you finish some on your own. But we wanted to help you guys out right there because it was something that took like a minute or two,
Right.
but especially when we had those base 10 blocks.
We also
All
have
right.
another caller. This is Ricky. Do I have Ricky from Turning Point Academy?
Hello, welcome to Count on Us. Is this Ricky?
I'm not sure if he's on the line or if he sent it from Facebook. It looks like he's sending it from Facebook.
Oh, so we
gotta
have
love
a question
technology.
from Facebook. Ricky, hopefully you're still watching from Turning Point. Thank you for sending your question via Facebook. So, Coach
So,
Harris, what do we have
Ricky
here?
from Turning Point wants to know how to simplify 6/9. And so what we have here is a drawing. Anytime I simplify, I like to start with a picture if I'm not sure what it's going to look like. I can see there's a lot of planning involved to making a picture, and knowing that the denominator was 9, I chose to make my box 3 by 3. I colored in 6 of them, and now looking at it, I'm going to think to myself, what are some ways that I can simplify? And some of them are visual. You may notice that there are columns, and you may see that there are 3 columns here. 1, 2, and 3, and it may be obvious to look at it and see how many of the columns are shaded in. Now that's part of the strategy, but there are also ways to do it by factoring, coming up with the multiples for the number and the factors for the number if you're trying to make a certain denominator. In this example, I would divide both 6 and 9 by the number 3.
All right.
3 over 3, which is equal to a whole, will give us an equivalent fraction that uses numbers that are smaller. And from the picture, we can actually see that 2 of the columns are shaded in.
1, 2, and then there's our third, so we can see that we have 1, 2 that were shaded in out of the 3. All right.
Thank you, Ricky from Turning Point. Now I have to say Gaddafi's name from our first caller and also Ricky now from Turning Point, those names are in our treasure chest and we're going to be pulling them out.
Definitely
to give you a prize.
I'm really excited that we got a question from Facebook.
I'm telling you, I love technology
cool
and
stuff.
I love that we're on Periscope.
Okay.
I love that we're out there because that means you don't just have to watch on TV. You can actually tune in
even
from your
if
phone.
you missed the show, last week, I'm going to be honest, last week I went home on Monday and I watched the show back because I wanted to see how it was. Okay? But I watched it when I got home. It was
That's
like
wonderful.
7:30 at night or something. I turned it on. I was like, oh, let me go to PGCPS on Twitter, pulled up Periscope, and I watched. I fast forwarded, you know, but I just wanted to see how it was. And you could still watch it. So even
It's
if you
amazing.
miss a segment, you can always go back, okay? So let's go to our next
We have another
caller.
caller.
Hello.
Hello, caller. Welcome to Count on Us.
How you doing?
Hello?
Hello, how are
Hello.
you doing? Who are we speaking with?
Cairo.
Cairo, what's up, bud? How's everything? How can we help you? What's the question you have, Cairo?
Should I say the word problem?
Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead. Share the word problem.
Oliver spent 2 1/8 time on his math homework.
Okay.
And he also spent 5 2/8 on his reading homework.
Is this in hours or is it just in overall time, Cairo?
Hour.
Okay, so it's in hours. All right, go ahead.
How many hours did he spend on his homework?
How many hours overall? So you know what I'm going to go back to here? I'm going to use this ruler, and it's going to be my number line, okay? Remember that manipulative of the week, Cairo? What's our manipulative of the week, Cairo? The what? The number line, right?
That's right.
All right, so let's look at this ruler. Let's pretend that this is our number line, because we're dealing with what type of number is 2 1/8 and 5 2/8?
Whole numbers?
Well, whole numbers with a fraction is called what?
Mixed numbers.
Mixed numbers. Okay, so we're dealing with mixed numbers. How do you want to set this problem up if we want to find a total of time, Cairo?
I think we should add the fractions first.
Okay, so you think we're going to add? So what would be the actual problem? 2 1/8 plus 5 2/8, right? Okay, so if we're using this number line, where can we start, Coach Harris?
Well,
What do you think?
our number line right now is broken up into fourths. So something that we might want to do is add eighths by cutting all of our fourths in half.
All right.
And that will give us a good starting point so that we can begin with the number that you told us we were starting with. What number would you like to start with, Cairo?
2 1/8.
So if we start with our 2 1/8, we can find it on the number line. That passes 2 and then 1/8. And then what are we going to do next?
And then add 5 2/8.
And you know, when I do problems like this, one of the things I like to do is separate the whole number from the parts because I think it's easier to deal with them one at a time. So one of the things I might do is go ahead and add on the 5 wholes to the 2 1/8. So just like when we're adding time, we're going to go around to the same spot over and over, going from 2 1/8 to 3 1/8, and that jump of 1 is 1 whole. If we do it again, we have a second jump, which is 4 1/8, a third jump, which gets us to 5 1/8, another jump, which gets us to 6 1/8. Now, Cairo, how many jumps have we gone so far?
4,
4. And what am I trying to add? What's my whole number?
5.
5. So I'm going to have to do it how many more times?
One more time.
One more time. So now that has given me the whole number. Now from this point, do you think you would be able to add 2 more eighths to that problem?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to let you figure that out all on your own and call back once you have the answer, because we can't wait to hear how you did the strategy. Okay?
All right. Okay, thanks, Cairo, for calling in, and we're glad that we could help you out with a strategy to help solving
I know,
those
and how
numbers.
perfect that it's a number line problem again. So we thank you for your caller, and we have put your name in the prize box.
We love that. And that kind of was a segue into our first question from a classroom. Okay?
Awesome.
We have a classroom question from Mr. Brinson's homeroom at James McHenry Elementary School. And I think we're going to go to that question right now.
On a clip.
Hi, my name is Mr. Brinson from We have been studying about fractions. We would like to know
That was a good
how to
segue.
add
That was a
mixed
good
numbers
segue.
to common denominators.
And I don't remember what the... We can't
Okay.
hear the question.
It's mixed.
Hi, my name is Mr. Brinson from
I'll clean it while you repeat the question.
We would like to know how to add mixed numbers with common denominators.
Yeah,
Alright.
we got it.
That was awesome. That's our first video segment from a school. Now, Mr. Brinson's class, we know it's a little low at home, but they were asking how to add mixed numbers with the same denominator. That seems really similar to what Cairo was working
Amazing.
on. Now, we
Amazing.
have another example on how to add those mixed numbers with a number line. We're going to use a number line again. We're going to have this ruler. I got this handy ruler here. It's beautiful. Now, what's beautiful about this is that it was broken into fourths. Like Coach Harris showed last time, it was eighths as the denominator, so we kind of have
Right.
to put those little lines there. So let's use that same strategy. So what's the first thing that we might want to do here, Coach Harris?
Well, I'm thinking that we may want to put together a starting point.
Okay.
We might even think about separating and doing partial addition.
Okay.
Adding maybe even the whole numbers together before we get to the fractional parts.
Okay, so you're saying there's multiple ways that we could solve this problem. There's
Right.
not just one strategy.
It's amazing. When we were speaking with Cairo, he wanted to start with the whole mixed number. And that's definitely an option, but there's no reason that you can't break them up. I also like to draw pictures of what I'm dealing with because I think it makes it easier for me to see visually.
Exactly, okay? Those are different strategies that you as a student can use when solving your math problems. So let's solve this problem. We have 2 1/4 plus 1 2/4. Let's use the second strategy that Coach Harris had said. She's taking her whole numbers and adding them up first. So if we wanted to count by wholes, 1, 2, 3. Now we want to add up our fractions. We can count by fourths. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. And if we have this on a number line, and I'm just going to draw a number line here just to show us. If we had this, we would have our wholes broken up 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then these were broken up into our fourths, where we know that this was 3/4. So if we added this up overall, our whole numbers and our fractions, the answer would be what, Coach Harris?
3 3/4.
3 3/4.
Lovely drawing. And I also like that addition of the ruler because most of us have a ruler at home and it's already broken up into equal parts. So it kind of makes it easier for us to see because a lot of times I notice that my students have a harder time drawing the lines and partitioning them. It's still an important skill to know how to do, but it's always nice to have another tool at home.
Especially that partition piece. We constantly see students, if you have a blank number line and we say partition into equal parts, sometimes they're not so equal. So that's where this ruler can help keep those partitions equivalent to each other.
Definitely.
All right, now we're up against the break here. Before we go to break, let's remind our viewers what's going to be coming up after the break. We have a fluency game.
Yes.
A brand new one that we want you to be able to take back to your class and show your friends and show your teacher. We also have a parking lot segment. That's one of those new segments where we're going to go over different tools that are going to help you be successful on the park. We're going to also continue taking some of your phone calls, and we have that partnering with parents segment where we had a parent follow up with another question from last Monday that we want to address. So go grab a drink, go grab a snack, do some stretches, and remember, you can always count on us.
I am a proud graduate of Prince George's County Public Schools. I attended Fairmont Heights High School and I graduated in 2001. Upon graduating, I attended the University of Maryland at College Park, go Terps, and pursued my career and obtained my degree in communication studies. So currently I serve as the Latino Affairs Liaison for the Office of the Prince George's County Executive. Being the first, my family to actually attend college, graduate, what I remember that my guidance counselor, for example, would preach to the students and to myself is the importance of education beyond high school, pursuing that degree. And I remember specifically when I applied to the University of Maryland, having my English teacher at the time helping in terms of guiding us and really offering to be there and with us throughout the process and reviewing our essays. So that to me, really translated to a teacher that not only cared, but was willing to go, that extra step to ensure that students were prepared, and that was ultimately a reflection of her. Community service, learning hours, and doing various activities helped me tremendously in my career now. And I always see it as the building blocks to being a public servant. I am very passionate about education. From experience, I can attest to the fact that we have great teachers, great personnel, great leadership that is, moving our students in the right direction.
Instead of A, why don't we say the?
Community schools is the use of public schools as a hub to provide an integrated focus on academics, health and social services, youth and community development, and community engagement.
You really make the school the hub of the community where all kinds of activities and enrichment and supports can occur, that they have all of their needs taken care of, and that all of the things they want to pursue, after-school programs, summer learning, internships, are available through strong school-community partnerships.
Everybody should be excited, not just teachers and students. The whole community should be excited because this gives us a unique opportunity to tailor our schools to the community that it serves.
Community schools are a priority in this year's budget because it's the next logical step, I think, in the expansion of work that we began with the Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative schools. We've been working to improve outcomes for students, and we believe strongly that those outcomes can't reach their maximum potential if we don't deal with the issues that are impacting the academic performance of our children that go well beyond teaching and learning.
What better time than now to restore the community's trust in the school system through the use of community schools so that they have access to our facilities every day during the week, morning and night, to provide services that will help to support the family and the student.
Hi, welcome back.
Welcome back.
I hope you had a nice break and got to enjoy our commercials. We are going to start very soon with a fluency activity and a game. But before we get started, I want to remind you that at the end of this show at 5:55, we're going to have a question of the day. And it's going to be about one of the segments that you've seen so far. So stay tuned because that question will get you a prize.
And we know that there are some callers on hold right now. Stay on hold.
Yeah.
We'll get to you guys in a little bit. first off, we're going to go to our Fluency Activity. Now, these are games that you can play at home with your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your cousins that come over, and it will help you with your math facts. And this game not only helps you with your math facts, but also helps you with your reasoning and sense making. Okay, so this is called Line 'em Up. Notice we're using this fraction bar here. And we have two different number generators, number cubes. These are 6-sided number cubes. What we're going to do is we're going to roll them, and you'll get a product. Notice each player has how many boxes, Coach Harris?
We each have 6 boxes to fill in with the numbers that we get that are products of our 2 rolls.
Now the goal here is to fill your 6 boxes first in the order from least to greatest. Now if we know we multiply 1 times 1, the lowest product we can get is 1. So if we rolled a 1, where would I want to put that?
I would definitely put it on the least side.
All the way right here, because you can't get anything smaller. Now if you rolled a 6 and a 6 and got a product of 36, where might you want to put that?
Definitely at the greatest end.
Now, at some point it comes into that reasoning piece. Say you rolled a 4. This is my first roll. I'm going to put that in my first box and just hope that I didn't roll a 1 or a 2 or a 3, right?
So for my roll, I get a 6, and my reasoning is the same way. That's a pretty low number compared to 36, so I'm going to expect that I'll be able to put other numbers larger than my 6.
All right, and I just rolled a 25. Ooh, this is tricky. I know that there are some products that are greater than 25, so I'm going to put this in my 5th square and right there. All right, Coach Harris, your turn.
I think that's a good placement. I end up with 24, so it looks like we're neck and neck here for times, and I'm going to go with the same reasoning you do. I know I could get something larger than 24, and I know there are even more numbers smaller than 24, so I'm going to put mine in here as well.
All right, let's keep the game rolling, and I got a 3. Ooh, if you notice, I have a 4 here. Can I place a 3 in front of it? No. So guess what? I can't put a number anywhere in my box. Now, if I had placed the 4 here initially, I could have put a 3 there, but not in this case. All right, go ahead, Coach Harris.
All right, my turn. Oh, yes, an 8. Now, I lucked out here because it was a random roll. I can put my 8 because it is greater than the 6 that I started with.
All right, and we're going to do a couple more rolls here. 6 times 5 is 30. I'm going to place it here because I know I need to start filling up some of my squares and lining them up.
All right, and I get 12. Looks like I have a good roll. 12 is greater than 8.
All right, now, this is a game that you can definitely take back to your school, share it with your classmates, and something that you can expand. You could add an extra number cube in there if you wanted to. You could do more than 6 squares. You could have 8, 10, 12 squares if you wanted to. And you could also look at how you would necessarily place these possibly on that manipulative of the week, the number line.
Could do it. We could do it. And I also thought for those of you who are in 1st and 2nd grade, you could also add the numbers as well. And these number cubes are nice because they have dots on them, so that helps you to add if you need to, and ways to make 10 and ways to make 12 and ways to make all sorts of numbers. So you could do an addition piece as well if you're in 1st or 2nd grade.
So this can be teachers that are watching. This could be one of your new centers that you can use within your classroom. Now we're going to one of our new segments. This is called the parking lot, and we're going to send it over to Coach Green, where she's going over one of those new tools that's only been around for a year or so. Okay, so let's go to Coach Green for the parking lot.
Hello, and welcome to today's edition of The Parking Lot. I am Dr. Lisa Green, and I will be showing you guys how to use the equation editor and the drawing tool, in which some of you will be required to use on the part assessment. So let's get started. So step 1 will be to log into parkpearson.com to view the home page. Step 2, once you're on the home page, we want you to scroll down to find the test preparation area. You're going to use the drop-down menu and select tutorials, as you see here. Test preparation, view test preparation. Step 3, on this page, scroll down to the online resources and click on the drop-down arrow. Step 4, select grades 3 through 5 math, computer-based assessment tutorial, as you see here. And lastly, for step 5, to access our drawing tool, you will use the introduction page for your tutorial and then follow the on-screen directions. Once you get there, items 21 and 22 will show draw tool examples. Now let's get started. Now we're on the actual home page for the park assessment. Let's scroll down to test preparation. I'm clicking on test preparation tutorials. Once you get to test preparation tutorials, scroll down to online student tutorials. Let's click on grades 3 through 5 math. Okay, now that we are here in the tutorial, let's proceed to enter. So I press start again. We want to get to questions 21 and 22. 21 and 22 provides us access to the actual drawing tool. So if I click on review and scroll down to question number 21, here I have my platform for actually practicing with the drawing tool. So let's just play with it a little bit. Let's just see what it's all about. So I'm going to click on my straight line and let's draw a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a straight line here. I'm going to click and draw another line, and here. Whoops, let's say I made a mistake. I want to erase. So to erase, I'm going to click on this back arrow. So once I click the back arrow, it allows me to erase any marks that I don't want seen. I also can use my square. My square will help me to make different colors. If I want to make different shapes, different colors, or different drawings, different colors. My mark here allows me to draw different boldness. I can make it as bold as I would like, or as thin as I would like. So again, I want to erase my board, so I'm going to press backspace. This has been the parking lot for the online drawing tool and equation editor. We hope you guys do very well in your assessment, and we know that you guys have a great understanding of the park drawing tool as well as the equation editor. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks Coach Green. That was another awesome parking lot segment, okay? And hopefully you paid attention to that one. All right, so we do have some callers. We want to get some of these calls out before 5:55. Remember, 5:55, question of the day. If you're on hold, we're going to just have to say, hey, pay attention to the question of the day and call back for that. So let's go to these callers. Welcome to Count on Us. Who are we speaking with? Hello.
I think we have James.
Is this James?
Yes, this is James.
How are you doing, James? Where are you calling from? What school?
I'm calling from Bowie.
Okay. What grade are you in, James?
I am in 8th grade.
8th grade.
Excellent.
All right. So are you calling about quadratic equations?
Yes, I am.
All right,
Okay, so
tell
let's
us a
look at
little
this.
bit. Somebody gave us a problem. I hope it's the right one. So you can tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll get started helping you.
So you'd like to hear the question?
Yes.
Can you see the screen right now? What I have is 3m parentheses 2m to the third power plus m squared plus 8 plus 4m. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so tell me some of the strategies and things that you've talked about in class so that I can make sure that I'm doing what your teacher's asking you to do.
So we've been doing the distributive property part, but it's kind of confused me.
Okay. Okay, so I'll get started. The distributive property is essentially telling us that the 5m that is in the problem needs to be multiplied by each of these pieces of the algebraic problem in the center. So the distribution property actually tells us that the first thing we're going to do is 5m times 2m to the third power. Now, for those of you who are in grades 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, this dot right here represents the same thing as a multiplication symbol. So for the upper grades, they eliminate that as a possibility because they use a dot instead of an X. When we do this problem, there's something called the property of powers rule, which tells us that if we're multiplying these, no longer will it be just 3m's, it will now be 4m's. So we have to multiply the 5 times the 2. That becomes 10, and m times m to the third power becomes m to the fourth power. Does that make sense, James?
Yes, I'm starting to get it more.
Okay, so the idea here is that if you go back to the basic properties of exponents, we know that m is not just m with a 3 above it. This m to the third power stands for m times m times m. And we do that back in 5th grade as well. My students do things like this. So if we multiplied it by another m, it makes sense that instead of having an exponent of 3, we would now have an exponent of 4. Does that help you out?
Yes.
Okay, so that's just the first piece. That's us dealing with the 5 and the 2m to the third power. Your next job would be to continue to distribute that through by multiplying your 5m times m to the second power and your 5m times 8. Once you have your 3 different products, you'll be able to add them together, and it'll make a little bit more sense because your powers and your variables will coincide with the other variables in the problem. Do you have any other questions, James?
No, this is very helpful.
Okay, excellent. So I tell you what, I would love for you to solve this problem at home and give us a call back when you get the answer, because I'd like to see that helped you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great question, James.
For calling in. All right, I think we have another caller. Let's go to our next caller. Welcome to Count on Us. Hello, how are you doing?
Who are we speaking with?
You're speaking with Audra.
Hey, Audra.
Hi,
how are you?
Audra. Welcome.
What's your homework problem that you have, Audra?
So my homework is about subtracting fractions.
Okay.
And I have this one.
All right. What's the problem?
The problem is 8/12 minus 4/12.
Say it one more time. 8
twelfths.
8 twelfths.
Minus
4/12.
4 twelfths. All right, so we could use our number line here if we wanted to. So we could have our 8 twelfths minus our 4 twelfths. And we know that benchmark fraction right in the middle, right? And be 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And if we had marked our twelfths out, we know that our half is 6 twelfths. If we started at 8 twelfths and we subtracted, what would we do here in order to figure out our answer here, Audra? If we start at 8 twelfths on our number line.
Can you repeat that?
If we're starting at 8 twelfths and we're taking away 4 twelfths, how could we use our number line to solve this?
We can,
Am I counting forward or am I taking away and counting backwards?
you're counting backwards.
Okay, because what operation am I using?
You're using the operation subtracting.
Subtraction. So if I take 4/12 away, I would count back 1, 2, 3, 4 twelfths. And if I know that I had labeled my number line, 8/12 minus 4/12 equals what? Audra?
4/12.
4/12.
4/12.
Our denominators stay the same, and we did 8 minus 4. Now, Coach Harris has fraction tiles to show you, okay? If we have this, we have our whole and our halves, which is our benchmark fraction. How would I use this, Coach Harris?
Well, when I'm looking at it, since we've been talking so much about benchmark fractions, my first thought is that I'm going to have a number that is greater than half, and I'm going to be taking away 4/8, which seems like it's close to half, or no, it's 4/12, sorry. So here I have exactly 8/12, and when I pull down 4 of them, I can see that there are 4 left.
Okay, does that make sense for you, Audra?
Yeah, but I also have a question.
What's the question?
If you for the question I had, if you put 1/2, will you get it wrong or will you get it right? Or so you put it 4/12.
Okay. All right, so Audra, here's my question. Is 4/12, if we're looking here, is 4/12 equal to 1/2?
No.
How many 12ths are equal to 1/2? What's half of 12?
6.
Half of 12 is 6, so 6/12 is equal or equivalent to 1/2. So is 6/12 and 4/12 the same answer?
No.
You're saying no, so the answer would have to be 4/12. Okay, Audra? We do have a couple more callers that we want to get to before we get to the question of the day. So, Audra, pay attention for the next couple of minutes and call back for that question of the day. Okay, we have 2 more callers to get to.
Yes, we do. We have 2 more callers, and we have about 3 more minutes left before we ask our question of the day.
I'm going to quickly go through these. Hello, welcome to Count on Us. How are you doing? Who are we speaking with?
Hi, my name is Joe Anthony Perez.
Hey, how are you doing, Joe Anthony?
Good.
Good. What's your math homework question?
My math homework question is Eddie is walking on a line that is painted on the sidewalk. It takes Eddie 8 equal side steps to get from one end of the line to the other. After Eddie has taken 5 steps, what fraction of the line is behind him?
Okay.
What fraction of the line is still in front of him?
All right. Does it say how many parts the line's broken up into, Joe Anthony?
It broke up into 8 equal sides.
But how many equal
How many
sides?
parts
How
is
many
it
equal
broken up
parts?
into?
Oh, 5.
So
5 steps.
Go back and read it again, because when I was listening, it sounded like he had a sidewalk. And what came next after he's on the sidewalk?
Oh, okay.
How many equal steps is he going to take?
It takes Eddie 8 equal side steps to get from one end of the line to the other.
Okay, so if we're looking at our number line, we're starting with 0. And we know that the full number line will take us to 1. And we know that we're partitioning this into 8 equal steps. So when I do fractions like this, I usually start with the halfway mark, as you see Coach Brenner doing, and then break the other pieces into parts as well. So that means that each of the lines you see are 8ths And Coach Brenner is labeling those.
And we know that you took 5 steps. So if we ended up at 5/8, how many more steps could you take, Joe Anthony, in order to get to the end? You're looking on your screen. How many more steps can you take? Count with me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 more steps, which is also equal to our fraction 3/8. Okay, Joe Anthony?
Yes.
Thank you for
All right,
your
thank
call.
you for calling. We're going to try to get through one more call. Okay?
We have
Hello,
Michaela.
welcome to Count on Us. Michaela, are you there?
Hi.
How you doing, Michaela?
Good.
How can we help you out? What's your question? We have about 1 minute to get through this.
So today, I'll be working on,
Do you have the question right in front of you?
I'll be working on plus today.
Adding?
Addition?
Okay,
Yeah.
so what are you adding?
50 plus 50.
50 plus 50?
Yes.
Okay. So if we're looking at our base 10 blocks, have you ever used these in your class? These base 10 blocks on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and we have another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. If we added these all together, count with me, okay? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And if we put this hundreds block over top, so what is 50 plus 50, Michaela?
100.
100. Thank you for calling in, okay?
You're welcome.
All righty, Michaela.
So it's that special time now.
It is. We have about 3 minutes left. So the question of the day. Here's the question of the day. During the parking lot, Coach Green went over a tool that some grade levels need to use. Coach Green, during the parking lot, went over a tool that is used in some grade levels. What is that tool?
Yeah,
for
what's
park?
the park tool
What's
that
the park
Coach
tool?
Green used in her segment?
All right, remember the phone number is right at the bottom of your screen, 301-772-0080. Now, we had a great show.
We did.
We had some really great callers. We got to our segments, hopefully.
We had our first Facebook
We got our
message.
first Facebook
We had our first
question.
Facebook question.
The first for Count on Us ever. Okay? Now, it does look like we have somebody that's calling in for that question of the day. What was the park tool that Coach Green used during the parking lot? Okay. Do we have our caller? Hello, welcome to Count on Us.
Hi.
Hello, who are we speaking with?
Cairo.
Cairo, what's up, buddy? What was the
welcome
tool?
back.
What was the tool that Coach Green used, Cairo?
Is it benchmark?
No, that was.
No, but I'm so glad you remembered that because we talked about that a lot today.
Okay, so we did talk about benchmark fractions. Okay, let's go back. I'm going to repeat the question.
Okay, I think we should. One more time.
Coach Green, during the parking lot, went over a tool that's used on the park assessment for some grade levels. Okay? What is the tool?
We have a caller.
All right, we have a caller. Hello, welcome to Count on Us. Do you have an answer to the question of the day?
I think it is a ruler.
A ruler?
Ooh, that's a good tool.
It was a good tool.
That is a good tool.
It wasn't necessarily the tool, okay? All right, we have another
We
caller.
have one more.
One more, and if not, we'll
great
have to postpone it to Wednesday, okay?
You know what? I'm just going to say how excited I am because all of the answers show me that they have been watching the show and taking it in, and that's exactly what we want.
All right, so do we have another answer for the question today? Hello, welcome to Count on Us. All right, well, what we will do is we'll pick another winner from one of our callers, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to pick a winner from the treasure chest, and here we go.
Don't look. Okay, we have 20 seconds.
Who we get? Oh. Nope, was.
Yep, Ricky.
It was Ricky.
Our Facebook.
Our Facebook.
That's wonderful.
Okay, Facebook Ricky from Turning Point Academy. Okay, all right.
And remember, you can always count on